Welcome back, Commanders, and today we've actually got something slightly different. We're going to be doing the tier list that you've seen many times on YouTube, but I'm going to be doing the most up-to-date one. The list has just been updated with all the new officers, so let's crack on. I'm going to do my personal opinion when it comes to the artillery officers. As many of you know, I am generally a artillery main. I do enjoy going obviously base to base as well as obviously defending. This is all a personal opinion. Please let me know your personal favorite list down below in the comments, and also what list would you like to see next? Would you like me to do, say, fighters, tanks, infantry? You let me know what you want to see in the next tier list video. All right, guys, so jumping straight in, we've got Antonina up first. Now, Antonina, as many people would end up putting her probably either A or B, technically, she's almost an S tier, and the reason for it, okay, I am going to keep her in A. But the reason she could potentially be S tier is she is available from the start. She offers that 5-range grid, but not only of these two are amazing, but she still keeps up with officers that are being released to now, which is genuinely quite surprising. She has ultimately stood the test of time throughout the whole entirety of Warpath. She is a staple of artillery officers. You think of an artillery officer, she's one of the first ones that comes to your mind. She's genuinely very good. I'm tempted to put her in S tier. Maybe we'll change that during the video, but right now she's gonna sit very high A, okay? The next officer on this list is gonna be Saber. Now, yes, Saber might be a little bit better than Antonina, but at the same time, Saber needs that 5-range grid to technically unlock his full potential. So without Antonina, or technically without Liberte, he's not even going to be getting that full amount of potential he has to offer. Now, the next thing about this officer as well is he has to be awakened to really be that amazing. Obviously, his awoken skill is whenever you shoot your main artillery shell, there is a chance, I think it's 30% chance, that you will actually activate his skill shot at the same time. So with that being said, he's still a very decent officer, but at the same time, that skill shot is still a pretty low coefficient compared to some of the other officers that are now in the game. Moving on to the next officer here, I can see we have Eruptor. Now, for me, Eruptor may even be D tier. Like, you don't need to awaken this officer. He has some good skills. Therefore, I'm going to put it into the C tier. And when I say good skills, it's just one skill, really. His fortification damage of 25% is very good when pairing it up with other officers. But him on his own, very low damage coefficient. Honestly, pretty useless skills on average. He's in a C tier, and he's close to D tier if he didn't have the one good skill to be able to give to other officers. So, moving on to the next officer here, we have Argent Flame. Now, Argent Flame 100% is A tier, and potentially S tier as well. Obviously, the way it's going to be hard realistically to think about what is classed as S tier. And the reason for it is because you have exclusive lounge artillery officers, and they're going to be in S tier. But do we rate non-exclusive lounges based on the fact that even though they're free to play, they're still almost just as good? So there is a potential for him to become S tier. Again, we might move this around in the future, but on an ATG, he's amazing. On an artillery, he's amazing. So with that being said, I think we could quite honestly put him in S tier. He buffs his aid, he brings along a lot of damage, and overall, I think, you know, just the ult skill being able to hit 3 people at once, I think he's deserving of S tier. So moving on to the next officer here, we have got Eye of Providence. Now, this is the easiest S tier I can even think of. In fact, I'm going to put him above. And the reason for it is there is, I guess technically this guy could also be classed as a siege officer, but he's a really bad siege officer. Eye of Providence has undoubtedly just insane skills when it comes to attacking a base, okay? And in general, he still could attack units just as well, but of course he has that extra boost when it comes to the actual bases themselves and other fortifications. So with the fact that there is no one close to him that is just as good, he's 100% S tier. If you are running more than one Howie, you have to have him, unless of course you have exclusive lounge officers, which is the case here. So the next one here, Lady Liberty, very easy S tier, of course. It's a shame that this one is so weak, but exclusive lounge officers, guys, they're very strong. Not only is basically Lady Liberty an upgraded version of Antonina, she has that 5 grid range. She has the highest damage coefficient of a skill shot, which is 2000. And honestly, overall, I think she's just absolutely amazing with damaging units as well, because of those extra skills on top of it. The damaging units that have more HP than her, 90% of units have more HP than the artillery anyway. On top of that, the special skill where she can completely freeze the opponent's skill shot as well, delaying it by 2 seconds. Obviously, there is a percentage of that, it's not guaranteed, but if that does proc, 100% she wins the fight. There is no ifs, there is no buts. She's gonna destroy them. So with that being said, I think her and I together, obviously attacking the base is just unstoppable. But on top of that, she's just amazing with no matter who you put her with. She has crazy damage output and obviously offers that 5 grid range. Moving on to the next officer, guys, we have Berserker Bear. And honestly, guys, I almost forgot his name. He doesn't offer anything good. Sure, if you're on a rocket launcher, maybe he could be worthwhile. The worst part about it, guys, is I don't even remember his skills. They're that bad of an officer. I don't remember them. I don't even know. Honestly, none of them are even good for skill training. As I said, Eruptor would be down in D as well, but Eruptor at least has a skill you can use for skill training. This officer is just, you know, if you have unlimited amount of officer statues, you might get him, but even then, he's useless. No one's ever going to use him towards the end game. He's just not worth it in any way, shape, or form. Moving on to the next officer here, we have got another A-list officer, and that is Maestro. Maestro, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, but this guy, although he's not absolutely amazing on paper, he is much better in practice. He offers a lot of damage when it comes to multiple units, setting them on fire. It is chance, but again, those chances are pretty high, and you normally see fire every time someone's attacking, so it's a very good skill proc. He offers a very good variety of skills, and as I said, he's best suited on an ATG, not necessarily a howitzer, but definitely does go on an ATG. Very good at absolutely demolishing super heavies, especially with a penetration skill as well. Moving on to the next one, and they're both as good as each other. Who gets first place? I think we're going to give it to Red Heat, purely based on the fact that she offers burn damage to 3 units at once, and those burn damages, when maxed out, can pretty much completely one-shot all 3 units in one skill, especially if it's howitzers. So with that being said, she is absolutely devastational at AoE attacks and absolutely phenomenal. And again, if paired up with someone like Flame, let's just say Flame is the captain and Red Heat is the aide, that's just gonna increase her damage even more. And honestly, genuinely a very good combination of officers there. So moving up, let's quickly go on to the next officer here, and we have Stinger. Now, Stinger, for me, I'm actually going to put him in S tier 2. Now, the reason I feel like I've got too many in S tiers. That's the problem. I feel like I need to maybe not have so many in S tier. But if I was to remove any out of S tier here, I genuinely... It's really hard to tell, right? Because this guy offers the aid 25%. But this guy offers more damage overall for himself. So who is the better officer? It's a really hard one to tell, but maybe I'm thinking of putting it maybe a little bit more like this for now. I think genuinely, out of all the officers here, I feel like this is going to be the best pairing when it comes to officers. Again, it's a really hard one. Maybe I can keep him up here for this list, guys. I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't have too many in S tier. S tier is reserved for the best of the best. These are the best of the best. There is no ifs, there is no buts. They are the best of the best. Now, Saber, you might be thinking, but Saber's an exclusive lounge, is really good. He's a lot of money for something that could be good. You know, if he doesn't proc, it's only a 30% chance. If he doesn't proc, he's actually not as good as these 2 officers. These 3 officers are better in their designated fields. So that's why I'm putting them above Saber. Now, I've got 4 more officers I want to talk about. Of course, this guy would be an S tier, but I'm not even going to put him on the list because if you was to get Wings of Wanderlust, you're not going to use him on a Howie. He will work on a Howie. He'll be very good on a Howie, but he will just excel in other fields, like on light tanks and stuff like that. He will excel in that field. So we're not going to include him in this video. Now, a lot of people enjoy having this officer, which is Vox. A lot of people enjoy having Vox on their ATG being the main one, because the reason for it is, although she's not the best ATG officer, she's very good when it comes to having things like damage resist for the base. And on top of that, she also provides garrison damage. Now, normally people will put this on a spare officer and then use her garrison damage skill on an officer that is on the ATG. That makes more sense. But if you are using all 5 of your units, then some people do in fact put this either on their weakest unit, or they'll put it on their ATG if they don't have enough artillery officers awakened. So she's going to sit in B for now. I think she's actually a very good officer to have within that realm. Now, guys, just want to let you know, I will make a versatile officer tier list on its own, but I am going to include 2 more officers here, okay, when it comes to howitzers and ATGs. And the first one that we're going to include here is going to be Mr. War Machine. Now, War Machine himself could theoretically still just be a B tier. Honestly, I'm going to put him in B tier because I feel like, obviously, he's not amazing. But what he is someone you can get early on for free, rather fast, by using the Alliance store. And then, obviously, if you want to use some extra of your own tokens. And you could get this officer pretty quickly for free. And honestly, he works. It's not like he's the best. I'm not saying he's the best, but he works, right? And you might be thinking, why are you putting War Machine over actual dedicated artillery officers? I myself would rather have War Machine, who has more damage coefficient than this guy. Again, I forgot his skills. I know they're useless, but I forgot them. I can't tell you the numbers right now off the top of my head. I do apologize. But with that being said, he does offer more coefficient than Eruptor. And on top of that, he also offers things like load skill as well. And obviously, this officer also gives that, but he gives damage skills and that too. With that being said, I generally would rather have this guy because, one, I would be wasting statues with him, but I can get this officer for free. So that's the main reason I put him above Eruptor. I just wanted to clarify that for you. Now, one final officer. People use this sometimes on like an ATG. He's okay. He's nothing amazing. I would say he's probably here. He's in a C tier. If people want to use him because he's a versatile officer, maybe they can. But then I could say the same for like this officer, for example. But we're going to leave them out of this one for now. We'll do our own separate versatile one anyway. But I have to include this officer. Now, Eagle, you might be thinking, whoa, why are you putting him in A? Guys, I'm actually going to put him in S tier. Now, you might be thinking I'm crazy here, but on a howitzer, he might be A tier, maybe B tier on a howitzer. But if we are talking an ATG, this guy, for an ATG alone, would be like here. Like, he's a thick boy when it comes to ATG. He is absolutely amazing. So, not only does he do crazy damage to vehicles, which is what an ATG is for, he also reduces their damage resist. He increases their normal attack, which is what the ATG specializes in, normal attack. He offers really high damage coefficient, and he offers base resist. He just has the overall package of, get the fuck off of me. I'm gonna kill you as fast as possible. And honestly, let's just say you have, for example, Argent Flame and Eagle on your unit. You are gonna demolish everything. You could even have Fist and him. You could have Saber and him. You could have Liberty and him if you really wanted to. I feel like Liberty would be kind of wasted, not on a howitzer. But as I said, guys, I think Eagle is one of the best ATG officers. Again, guys, if we're talking howitzers, he would be around here somewhere, okay? But purely ATG, I think he's a better option than Maestro. 100%. I stick by that. But yeah, so howitzers ATG, this is kind of where we're looking. And this is just my personal preference. As I said, Antonina, she is absolutely amazing. She's one of the first officers you can get. Don't overlook her. Whenever we've done any form of testing she's up there. She's up there. She's still managing to compete with all the new officers coming out, and she's a Gen 1 officer. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this actual tier list. Thank you so much over to the Warpath team for updating it and giving us all the officers. As I said, let me know down below in the comments what tier list you want to see next, and feel free to roast me. Feel free to roast me down below if you think I've butchered this tier list. It's just on my personal opinion. I know everyone is entitled to their own opinion, so feel free to comment down below what your favorite loadout is. As always, guys, I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.